Top story where, as I told you earlier on, the 11-member Senate committee begins hearing on the proposed removal of the embattled Kirinyaga Governor Anne Mumbi Waiguru. That hearing is expected to begin at 10 a.m. I'd like us to link up with the senior parliamentary reporter Patrick Amimo from our City Centre studio. Patrick Amimo, good morning. Kindly break it down for us what we need to expect today during that hearing.
Thank you. When this particular committee, as it sits to listen to those particular charges that have been leveled against the Kirinyaga County Governor and Mumbi Kimotho, today, when they start meeting, it will just be to set the agenda and the preliminary on how they'll tackle this particular petition that is before the Senate committee on looking into the matter of removal of Anne Mumbi Kimotho. And today, it's the day for the county assembly to prosecute its case through either its lawyers and also the speaker of the county to explain why they want Anne Waiguru removed. This particular matter, we saw 33 MCAs from that particular county vote to seek removal of the governor based on gross misconduct, misappropriation of funds in the county, among other allegations. So today, once the committee convenes at 10, they'll get that procedure on what each party will be required to do, and the county assembly will have at least 3.5 hours to prosecute its case. We expect the sittings today after maybe at around 10:30. That's when now the real matter will be on the table with the county assembly prosecuting its case. And by at least by 5 thereabouts, we expect this matter, the county assembly to have concluded its case. Both pushing the petition and also having cross-examination from the senators in the committee as to the area that they might find wanting or they might require more evidence from the county assembly as it buttresses its case against the removal of Governor Anne Mumbi Kimotho. Brenda?
And Amimo, so the people were expected to give their evidence, the presentation as to why the governor should go home is a representation from the members of the county assembly. When it comes to witnesses, who are likely to appear on behalf of the county assembly?
So far, the list of attendees, whether from the county and who their witnesses will be, has not been made available to the media. That will be the matter that we'll get to know once the county assembly is allowed from 10 a.m. That's when they'll tell us whether they'll also be lining up maybe several witnesses. But that provision is there. They'll be the county assembly will prosecute, and also after that, it will also have their witnesses to come and back up their allegations on why they feel that the governor did involve herself in those matters, misappropriation and abuse of office, and why they want her removed. So the list of witnesses will be appearing before the Senate Select Committee. We yet to know, but that will come on the floor once the county assembly presents its case, and those members whom it will have tagged along to come and help push this case of removal of Anne Mumbi. Remember, tomorrow it will also be the day when the governor herself will come to defend herself against those allegations before the committee, and also give an opportunity for the other accusing party to also cross-examine the evidence given by the Waiguru team. So today is just basically for the county assembly, and they'll have 3.5 hours before the Senate to give their evidence and on why they think the governor should be removed. And as I did indicate, 33 MCAs that time, they did agree that Waiguru has to go. So it's a matter that we'll be keenly watching and to see how it will go out, and how the county assembly will push its case before the Senate to ensure that it wins its case or convinces the senators that there is need to remove the governor from office, having not made part of the bargain, both from the electorate and the county assembly.
And Amimo, lastly, the county assembly appears before the Senate committee today, the 11-member committee, but there has been concern from some members of the county assembly and also from some senators themselves that the committee is out to actually, quote-unquote, what they term as sanitize the embattled governor in terms of protecting the embattled governor instead of hearing, the outcry of the people of Kirinyaga County.
It is a dicey situation because given that we've seen the governor claimed to be aligning herself with the BBI, and we've seen those pushing BBI claim that she should be protected from that particular action that is coming from the county assembly. That's why there is fear from the county assembly and Kirinyaga that she might be protected, given that she's aligned herself to the BBI, and we've seen those people supporting BBI say she should be spared this particular action because she's supporting the process that will maybe birth a new or make changes to the constitution that we adopted in 2010, which for the last 10 years has not had a change on either or a comma on that particular supreme law. And we've seen activities happening in both the Senate and National Assembly where leadership have been there have been a purge on the leadership because that particular document is expected before the National Assembly, and maybe people think will not go the referendum way. They want majority of the issues under the BBI to be prosecuted at Parliament. And so if there are those fears that this particular governor, she is enjoying that particular protection or favor from the forces that be, then that's why the people from Kirinyaga, maybe their fears could not be unfounded. But then the senator said it will, the committee says it will play above board, and it will ensure that whatever matter is brought before it, then it is prosecuted and heard without fear or favor. But then we'll have to wait and see how this particular matter will be argued before the Senate. But as it were, there are those people who feel that Anne Kimodo should not face the MCA's wrath, and that Kenyans will also be looking at the Senate to see whether it will how it will be behaving, because it's coming just a few days, a few months after we saw what happened to Kiambu, where the former governor Ferdinand Waititu was kicked out of office, and we saw how that matter was prosecuted. The entire plenary sat to listen to Waititu's case, and no sooner than later we saw Waititu kicked out of office. So this particular time there was also that pull and push. People who had said that maybe the committee is not the best way to go. They wanted it to be listened to at the plenary, but then they said they have opted to go for the committee, and said we saw Orengo argue that the House committee should be respected because that is where the House agenda is held. And the fear is that should the committee come to the conclusion in its report when it convenes on Thursday and writes its report before it presents to the Senate special sitting on Friday, should the committee say and Mombe there's no case to answer, then that matter dies. That's the fear that is emanating. And they say maybe if it were the entire plenary, then probably with 47 senators, we would have seen, maybe they try to see whether there are anything out of that particular case. But then we'll wait to see how the Senate, whether it will stand and say, assure the people of Kirinyaga that they'll be fair to this particular process, which matter is being looked at with a lot of anxiety in Kirinyaga by both the MCAs and also the incumbent governor and Mombe. Brenda.